so many mistakes when launching a podcast. Today, I'd like to focus on 5 key areas. When launching a podcast, you need to think about a long-term goal. Why are you launching your podcast? Why do you want to start a podcast? There are so many reasons why you may wish to start a podcast. It may be a hobby. It might be an interest in a topic. It might be for career, business, or marketing. I wanted to launch a podcast because I had tons and tons of content. I wanted to reach a new audience using a different channel to give me more opportunities for keynote speaker engagements. You may want to think long term, do I want to increase and attract monetization or sponsorship? So this will have an effect on the type of podcast and how you will implement your brand new podcast. You also need to think about marketing and branding. Without marketing and branding, you won't get a following and you won't get an audience. So you need to think about your target market. Who will potentially listen to your podcast? And by this will give you a good understanding on the type of content you need, because content is king. You also need to think about researching technology. Well, researching in general. Technology is really important because one of the mistakes I made was a podcast does require quite a high level of technology. There are so many podcast hosting providers available, each providing different features and price setting. Do you choose Anchor, Buzzsprout, or Podbean? There are so many available. As well, what type of podcast channels do you want to launch your episodes on? Would it be Apple? Would it be Spotify or SoundCloud? There are so many to choose from. It's also important to think about your content. You will be managing your podcast show, so you want to choose a topic that you're interested in. You want to choose a topic that you have a good understanding and you're comfortable with. You also want to think about the structure to your podcast. Will you be uploading episodes weekly, monthly, bi-weekly? Do you have enough content to host the podcast on your own, or will you be inviting podcast guests? As a bonus, it's really important to think about monetizing or sponsorship. I launched my podcast in January with the marketing strategy to attract sponsorship. Within 3 months of launching my podcast, I achieved 2 sponsors, one of which was an international client located in Budapest. I'll include the link below so you can actually hear that sponsored podcast. So guys, I would love to hear from you. Are you thinking about launching a podcast? Did you find these mistakes and tips interesting? And do subscribe to my podcast show, Better Networking Podcast, available on all your favorite podcast providers. So guys, are you thinking about starting a podcast show? I strongly urge you go for it. It does not have to be perfect. Just give it a go and you can perfect it as you go along. I would love to hear your comments. And do you have any questions for me? Or perhaps you would like to learn how you can monetize a podcast and attract sponsorship? I would love to hear from you. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the blue likes. Thank you.